Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Insurance Explained with Andrew Perlin. So listen, today I want to talk about something that more and more people are doing these days, and that's a side hustle. Maybe you're driving Uber or you're renting out your room in an Airbnb, or you've started a small business on the weekends. Maybe what started as a hobby has now become a legitimate source of income. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. In fact, I think it's great where people find creative new ways to earn additional income, and I'm all for it. Keep doing it. It's fantastic. The problem is that most side hustles don't start with someone sitting down and reviewing their insurance coverage, right? They usually start with an idea, a customer, a referral. And before you know it, like your life has changed. Like you got a whole new business on your hands and you're just going forward and not thinking twice about it. But like I said before, the problem will always be when your life changes, your insurance needs to change too, because it won't change automatically. And that's where most people get into trouble. This is just one of the examples that I've been calling the illusion of coverage, when you think you're covered, but you're really not covered. So let me give you a real world example. This actually happened to one of my clients a while ago. My client just had a little side hustle, and next thing you know, his side hustle became his main hustle. He quit his full-time job, and he was doing this ever since. As his business grew, he decided that he was going to transfer ownership of his car from himself to his business. So it seemed like a pretty reasonable thing to do. So now the business owned the vehicle. So he put the title in the business's name. The problem with that, though, is that he never updated his insurance. The vehicle is now owned by the business, but the insurance policy was still written under the personal auto policy. So, of course, he gets into an accident shortly thereafter, and all of a sudden we have a problem. The insurance company discovered in no time that the vehicle was owned by the business while the policy was still written as a personal policy. What happened? The claim was denied. Now, think about it for a second. This wasn't fraud. He wasn't trying to hide anything. He wasn't trying to do anything wrong. He simply didn't realize that a change in ownership could create a major insurance problem. And that's the lesson. People just don't wake up in the morning thinking about insurance. Okay, I do, but this is my job. But most people just don't. They're thinking about how to grow their business, how to make money, how to serve customers. Insurance is usually the last thing on their mind. But insurance policies are built for a very specific risk. And if those risks change, the policy needs to change too. And that is just one example of what I have seen over the years of doing this. Here's another one I'll give you. A client of mine decided he wanted to be a driver for rideshare and just do it on the evenings and make a little bit extra money. Everything was going great until he got into an accident, right? Suddenly the question became, were you driving for personal use or were you driving for the rideshare? Many people don't realize that personal auto insurance was originally designed for personal driving. Makes sense, right? But when you start using it for business pursuits, it becomes a little tricky and it might not cover it at all. So once you begin transporting passengers for compensation, you've introduced a different type of exposure altogether. Now, to be fair to these drive share companies, they do provide insurance coverage in certain situations. The challenging part is that the amount of that coverage changes depending upon when the accident happens. So for example, if the app isn't on, you have no coverage. Okay, flat out. That makes sense, right? Because you're probably using it for personal use. If the app is on and you're driving around just waiting for someone to hire you, then there's a small amount of insurance that the rideshare company will give you if there's an accident. If you're en route to pick somebody up, there's a different amount of insurance that they're willing to give you. And then finally, if you're in an accident with the passenger in your car, there's yet another amount of insurance that they're willing to give you. In no situation is the rideshare company's insurance designed to replace the personal insurance that you have. But if you don't let the insurance company know what's going on, they might not cover it at all. And the money that you get from the rideshare company might not be enough. Okay. The interesting thing about this is it's a really easy fix. Almost every insurance company that I represent offers a rideshare endorsement or another coverage that will align specifically with rideshare drivers. So all you have to do is just let your insurance company know that you're using this for rideshare, pay the premium. It's really inexpensive and you're covered for that risk. But if you don't have it and the rideshare insurance isn't enough, the insurance company may not pay that claim. So it's really important that you make sure that your insurance company knows how your vehicle is being used. Airbnb is another one. I had a client recently decide to do that to their home to generate additional income. Sounds good, seems harmless, right? After all, they own the house and they had homeowners insurance on it. But homeowners insurance is designed around personal residential use. It's not designed for business pursuits. Once you start renting out your property to paying guests, you've now introduced a completely different exposure. Now, to be fair to those companies, they also offer host protection and insurance programs. However, these programs are not the same as homeowners insurance. Okay. And they weren't designed to replace the conversation with an insurance company, and it certainly wasn't designed to replace your homeowner's insurance. Depending on the situation, your homeowner's carriers may require an endorsement or they may require different coverage altogether. But the key is having the conversation before the claim occurs. Okay. The thing about those Airbnb companies or those types of insurance for when you're renting out your house like that is it's usually a reimbursement policy. So whereas your insurance company, you file the claim, they will pay for the damage to get fixed. These policies, you file the claim, you pay it out of pocket, and they'll reimburse you. So it's not the same. So you absolutely need homeowners insurance, even though you're renting your home out. And you better make sure that the homeowners insurance company knows you're doing it and will allow for that, because some don't. Then if they don't allow for it, you have to get another policy entirely for when your house is being rented. Let me give you yet another example. I had a client who had a pressure washing business. Just pressure washed a couple of houses on the side, make a little bit extra money. Next thing you know, it was a growing business. Things were going well. Life is great. One day he accidentally damaged a customer's siding performing the work. The homeowner wanted it fixed. I mean, I'd want it fixed too. Well, the homeowner wanted it fixed right. It filed the claim. The guy didn't have insurance, and now he's in a lot of trouble financially. That's what insurance is there for, right? In this case, general liability is specifically designed for exposures just like this. But many side hustles begin long before someone thinks about business insurance. Now, notice what all four of these examples had in common. None of them were people who are trying to do anything wrong. None of them were trying to hide anything. They simply found a way to make extra money. The problem wasn't the side hustle. The problem was assuming that their insurance automatically adapted when their life changed. Insurance just doesn't work that way. So if you started a side business, picked up a weekend gig, started driving for a rideshare company or renting out your part of your house, you turned your hobby into income. I encourage you to have a conversation with your insurance advisor when you do, because most personal policies, almost all personal policies, will not cover any business pursuits unless you let the insurance company know that you're doing it. And then they provide an endorsement that allows you to do it, or you need to get a different policy all the way around. Okay. And the thing is, in most scenarios, it's just an easy fix. It's either an endorsement or a separate policy, but it's better than not having it. So don't assume you're covered, because the most expensive insurance mistakes are the ones most people never knew they were making. So remember, coverage does not equal protection. And if your life's changed, your insurance should too. So let's review it. Have any comments or questions, leave it in the comment below. Like and share. That's how we grow our channel. This is Andrew Perlin with the Insurance Explained. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye.